Welcome to Chamber Connection. I'm Mary Hodson, President of the Hutchinson Area Chamber of Commerce and Tourism. I'm so glad that you are here joining us for the first show of 2016. Before we begin, I want to let you know about the Chamber Business of the Month, which is Cross Point Church. Now, if that name doesn't ring a bell right away, it might be because you might know it as Shalom Baptist Church, which recently changed their name. Their doors are wide open and they're ready to welcome you if you're looking for a new church. Check online at explorehutchinson.com to learn more about Cross Point Church. Today I'm very excited to be sharing with you some great things that are happening at the high school here in Hutchinson. And with me today I have Mr. Patrick Walsh.
Hello, Mary.
You are the principal at Hutchinson High School. Thank you for joining me today.
You're welcome. Thank you.
We are going to be talking about TigerPaths. So if somebody hasn't heard about TigerPaths and you're like, what is the high school doing? Give everybody an idea about what TigerPaths is.
Well, the simple way for me to explain it would be, for kids who are leaving high school, you have everything under the sun. Mm-hmm. So TigerPaths is basically dividing everything under the sun by 25%. We're saying one of our sectors of our employment is manufacturing, engineering, hands-on type of stuff, really city of Hutchinson type of things. A third of our workforce is in this area. So we look at that as one significant potential future sector. We have another area called Sci-High, which is a healthcare initiative. Another significant part of our workforce is about 25 to 30% of our workforce is in healthcare in some aspect of it. Another area is business, which I simply would tag as for-profit type of things, shops, personal businesses, definitely things of retail, those type of things.
And finance, right?
Yes,
banking, accounting.
Yep, absolutely. And then the last one would be human services. So you think of cops and teachers and county workers and public servants. So we have those fairly well divided, and what's interesting about that is they pretty accurately reflect our workforce.
Mm-hmm, they do.
When we've did a little cross analysis, we're really good. We're between 20 and 30% of those sectors in every area. So it's kind of getting kids to narrow it down a little bit.
Now, the process to get this going has taken a long time. I'm very pleased to be part of this, as well as a good portion of our business community, wherever they hit in those quadrants. And that's kind of how I explain it to people. And maybe we can show that up on the screen. So when we are dividing this out, and you say you want kids to pick one of those or get interested in one of those, tell people what that means in the high school and for a student.
Well, I think what it means is that, for instance, if I choose healthcare and I'm a 9th grader, we're going to strongly advise you to take first aid, because we look at that as a hands-on course. If you're going to be a doctor or you're going to be an EMT worker, you're going to really need to know first aid.
Right.
As you get down the road, the specifics are going to change. Somebody might be taking AP physics, maybe taking higher level anatomy and stuff. Somebody else might be taking life-saving. EMT type of thing. Mm-hmm. So depending on what you're doing, you gain specificity as you get older.
Okay.
But we're just starting kids in hands-on. We're trying to introduce more hands-on stuff at kids at the baseline. So it's more skills-based instead of another class where you're just going to listen to a teacher. I think we're only asking for, TigerPath we look at as a 5th core.
Okay.
So everybody knows that you have math, science, English, and social. Everybody knows that. Mm-hmm. But we're saying that there's another aspect that's really essential for you to make good decisions about post-secondary in your life, is that you have to have some hands-on things so you get to experience these things before you have to make the choice. I would say the counter to this is the kid who's taken all required things and they've graduated from high school and they go to college and they have to state that they're doing something, and they get there and say, boy, I had no idea that that's what this was. I'm in engineering and I've never even fixed anything. And I'm in engineering because I was good at math. Well, if your angle is going to be engineering, I want you to start doing some things hands-on so you really understand what the field of engineering looks like.
Because you've got some interesting statistics about how many kids go to college versus a 2-year program. We're really kind of broadening the post-secondary idea, right? trying to get everybody to understand what all of their options are. So when we talk about those students, give some people some of the statistics about how many kids go to college, who's finishing college. Let's talk a little bit about that.
I think we have about a 40% ratio of our students that go to a four-year college, and about 40% more go to a two-year or a certificate-based, and then about 20% who don't do anything right out of high school. But what's really interesting about that is all those numbers scramble later, because out of that first 40% that go to a four-year school, probably only 20% of those graduate from a four-year institution, and 20% are retreating either out of school or into two-year institutions. Out of those kids that go to a two-year institution, maybe 10 to 20% of those are moving into four-year degrees, and 10 or 20% of those are exiting out into the workforce. Once into the workforce, a big part of the workforce is retraining people so they fit your workforce.
Right,
so
yeah.
It's all of these interchanges. So one of those things that's important about TigerPath is that you really don't know what you're going to end up doing. So in the meantime, start picking up skills. Skills happen through hands-on methods, not sitting in a chair. So one of the things about TigerPath is hands-on. We really emphasize that early in your high school career so it can morph into other things. You know, even with HCVN here, you know, we've worked with, in our art classes, of getting kids with a live camera, a good camera, so they get the feel of what this is really like. You know, it could lead to a bunch of different things, rather than just theoretically watching a cameraman do what they do.
Right.
Having a cameraman come in and tell you what they do, you actually get to experience it. Same way in welding. You know, we hear of all the welding jobs and the manufacturing jobs.
Right.
What does
Yeah.
that mean? You
Yeah.
know,
What
New
does it
Crane,
mean?
what does it really mean to work at New Crane? It's a big building and they ship stuff to Japan, but when you see it and start working on it, it has a different, you know, texture to it. So
Right.
it's about acquiring all these skills and understanding, you know, TigerPath is really interconnected. Our worlds are interconnected. As an example, I could work at Hutch Health as an accountant. And you know, as an accountant at Hutch Health, am I in the business sector, am I in the human services, or am I in medical? And the answer is all three. And so there's a lot of our jobs that are intersected in a lot of different things, and we're not saying that you're locked in and this is your
Right.
major. We look at TigerPath more as like a minor. You're majoring in just high school, but it's a minor is like giving you some emphasis. You can't walk out of here without some career emphasis, whether you're going to Harvard or whether you're going to a 6-week program in Pine City, you know, to be a taxidermist.
Right.
You walked out of here with something that you could, you know, put on your shelf.
Now, our viewers might be wondering, so why is Mary talking about this with the Chamber? Well, the Chamber's talking about it, EDA, Economic Development Authority, is talking about it, Ridgewater College is talking about it, Hutchinson High School and the school district is talking about it, and our local businesses, because we have a workforce shortage.